And welcome to our Zoom 11 o'clock Tuesday class. We're working in book number 200. The songs for today are Unchained Melody and Unforgettable. So two songs. Some of you have done several of these songs over and over again, but some of them are so nice that they're also worth repeating. So what do we know about Unchained Melody? Okay. The music was originally written as a theme for a little-known prison film called Unchained. Unchained. So that's where Unchained Melody comes from. There is no actual word Unchained in all the lyrics of this song. So in case you were wondering where that came from, it's because it was written for a prison film called Unchained. It has since become a standard and one of the most recorded songs, most notably by the Righteous Brothers in 1965. Okay, with a solo by Bobby Hatfield. Bobby Hatfield of the Righteous Brothers, I am very proud to say, was born in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. All right. We don't get too many musicians out there that come from Wisconsin like yours truly. The Righteous Brothers recording achieved a second round of great popularity when it was featured in the film Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze in 1990. It is also listed as number 27 on AFI's 100 Years, 100 Song list. Okay, that's pretty high up on the list. It never contains the word Unchained. Originally, in the 1955 film version, a guy by the name of Todd Duncan sang the vocals, and the song at that time was nominated for the Oscar, okay, back in 1955, but it lost. Oh, what did it lose to? Love is a many splendored thing. So two great songs in the same year. One of them had to lose, and unfortunately, Unchained Melody was the one that lost. So it's a very popular song done by many artists. So you can pretty much play this on whatever you want. I don't recommend playing the Unchained Waltz. That would be the only one that I would not recommend. Your song setup should bring it up to 50s love songs at 72 with the altar style. Most of you do have that. If you're on the easies, it's called rock pianist, and I would add drums, and I would also add a lower left chord sound for that. Or anything in your smooths are going to be fabulous. A Hawaiian background would work. Wonderful World is fabulous on this, by the way. And the LIFE background, life. Does anybody know what that stands for, by the way? It's actually the signature background for That's Life, That's What the People Say. And that's the background. That sidebar, Leon Strone wrote a fabulous poem to about organs and the pandemic and all that good stuff. But that's LIFE stands for Lowry is fun and easy. Okay, now you needed to know that. I know you all were wondering why. So inquiring minds needed to know what that stood for. Now you know. So that is also a very good background. And I used rhythm preset 2 on that one, and that brought up 2 guitars. 2 guitars. Okay. Let's see. Where are we going to? Let's do the roadmap next. Let's do the roadmap. All right. Follow the lyrics the best you can, but the roadmap is a little bit screwy. So we play the entire first page. We go to the second page, line 1, line 2. Now, at this time, I want you to ignore the fine. There's a fine right there. Ignore that. Keep going. Lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the open arms of the first ending, C. So you've got a 1 and a bracket, and then your 2 dots. Your 2 dots, your repeat dots, send you back to the beginning of line 3 of that page. It's not backing you up very far. So if you're using your colors, you'd want to make that, oh, let's say pink, and then make this one pink so that your eye will see that color and go immediately back to that. Lonely River's Sigh, wait for me, I'll be coming home, wait for me, second ending. So you want to skip from here to the second ending when you're on your second time through. Then you get to the end of the second ending. Oh my gosh, that's not the end of the song. You have two thin little lines, which designates the end of a section, not the end of a song. And so then you have to follow the direction. So you want to make that a different color. Let's make that one yellow, doesn't matter. It says DC al fine, not DC al fine. I don't know who al fine is. DC means da capo. Everything is in Italian. Go back to the head of the song. Capo means head. So you're going back to the beginning of the song. And you're going to play until you find the word fine. It doesn't mean fine. It doesn't mean that Pam Kunkel played this very fine, although she probably does. It means fine, final, finale. You know, if you think of it as final or finale, I think that'll help you. And if you want to put a big stop sign around the fine, then you'll know that that's just put a little stop sign around fine, and it'll tell you when to stop the last time. Questions about the roadmap? Did you get it? Okay.
Yeah.
We've done the song before and you know the song, so it shouldn't be too difficult to follow.
Dawn?
Yes?
Okay, so you're going, the second time around, you're going to the top of the first page, and then you're playing all the way to the second line of the second page.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, thank you.
You've got it. Yep. All right. As far as chords, yes, there's a couple extra chords, but not too many, so this should be nice and easy today. First line, third measure. Make the B flat a B flat major 7, capital M-A-J 7. And remember, the major 7s are jazz chords. The mathematical formula is the letter minus 1. So A and B flat. A and B flat. Let's go to the second line. Fourth measure. You have a measure with nothing. So over that whited in whole note, you're going to put a C7, chicken 7, and it's C and B flat. Let's go to the third line. Third measure. Make the B flat a B flat major 7. A and B flat. Let's go to the fourth line. Last measure. Over the last B flat quarter note, put a C7, chicken 7, C and B flat.
What was that, Dawn?
C7. C7. At the very last B flat quarter note, put a C7 over that. It's only for one note, and if you miss it, it's not that big a deal because you're already on a C chord. So no great shakes if you miss that one.
Dawn, would you please repeat line 2's change?
Yep, same thing. It's the last measure over that whited in whole note, put a C7.
Okay.
Again, that's not a real big deal if you miss that one. But the
Thank you.
C7 is the lead-in chord for that next chord, which is an F.
Okay.
C7, 99 times out of 100, goes back to F. Let's go to the second page, top line, last measure. You have an F chord. Now, it's not the first F, it's the second F, all the way at the end of the line. Make that F an F major 7. F, capital M-A-J 7. Your two notes are E and F. Second line, no changes. Actually, the rest of the song, oh, okay, I got one more change. Line 4. I'm going to give you an alternate chord, and I'm going to let you choose the one that you think sounds the best. You have an F minor chord over the word C at the beginning of line 4. You may play F minor, which is F and A flat, or you may play plain old A flat, and you see which one sounds the best to you. They both sound fine, okay? They both sound absolutely wonderful. So pick the one that you like and then cross out the other one, okay? And that's it for this song as far as chord changes. I'm going to play it before we do fingering, and I'm going to play it first on song setup. Song setup. The most important thing for you to do right now is follow the road map. Song setup. I just noticed I made a mistake on fingering. Okay. Yeah, so if I give you this fingering, you're going to have a terrible time trying to get to this.
Was that on Basic Ballad that you played that?
No, that was not basic ballad. That was ballad with no variation, the 50s love song, but it was on the altar style. Everybody has this if you go to song setup. Now, basic ballad will also work with this, by the way. So those of you that have basic ballad, don't be afraid to try that one either. So good ears. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try some fingering.
Dawn,
Yes.
before I got lost a little bit on page 2 here.
Okay.
Page 2, no changes on chords on the first line, right?
The first line I do have the very last F is an F major 7 at the end of the top line of page 2.
Okay,
The
that's
last
over
F
the,
up there is an
the-
F major 7, E and F. Then the only other change on
Okay.
page 2 is line 4, the F minor. I'm going to give you a choice. You may play F minor or you may play A flat. I actually played it with just my thumb on the A flat and it sounded beautiful. So whichever one you like. So you guys, that was it. Those are the only 2 on page 2.
Hey, Don, what was the speed
No.
that you had on that?
That's 72 beats per minute.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, that does come up on your song setup. It also comes up for if you just go to ballad with no variation, 50s love songs, that is the speed that it comes up to. So 72. Now, if you can't play it that fast, slow it down. If it feels like you're falling asleep with it, don't be afraid to, speed it up. It's got to feel right for you.
Dawn,
Yes.
the second time around when you played line 3 and you played line 4, goes, did you put an E in there?
Mm-mm.
Did you say goes by?
Time. I didn't, but if you hear something different, you can.
I heard you put an extra note in there. I heard
Yeah,
you
every
put
now and then.
Yeah, you
goes and also still mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went time.
So was it the
F
F?
and G a couple times.
Oh, you did F and G a couple of times.
Yeah, time.
Okay, thank you.
Then I did a finger roll. Yeah, I did a finger roll on slowly. I did that the second time. So
Okay, thank you.
whatever sounds good to you. Okay. Remember, this is an advanced class. So if you're hearing other notes, try a few things. And if it sounds good to you, write them in so you don't forget to play them the next time. And the next time you play them, if it doesn't sound good, erase them. Try something different. That's called noodling. It's called embellishing.
Don, when you did that little finger roll on line 3 where over the slowly, did you just go down from A
to
just
F.
all those notes down to F?
Absolutely. A.
And then you did another area where there were a couple of areas where you did a little embellishment.
Yeah, you guys are listening very well. I did add some grace notes. Every now and then I added just an extra up and down, up and back note. You can play it however you hear it. And again, if your fingers do something and you go, "Oh, I like that," go back and see what you did and write in the notes that you did. And because we are creatures of vision before we're creatures of listening, most of us anyway. So if you write them in, you'll go, "Oh, let me try that again." Now, you don't want to do those changes every time you play. You want to keep it fresh. So the second time you play, you might want to play it just a little different. And that's called being a musician and trying new things. Good stuff. All right, let's go to some fingering. And remember, if you're doing embellishing, your fingering's going to change, so no worries. F3, G4, F3, G4, A5, F3, F3, C1, E2, G4, A5. Second line, F3, G4, F3, A1, B flat 2, C3. Check mark at the end of the line. Third line, we're repeating what we did in the first line, F3, G4, F3, G4, A5, F3. Now, if you're doing a finger roll there, you're going to end up on a 1. And then you just switch fingers. Like I said, you do some of the embellishments, your fingering changes. The F over the word and is a 3. C1, E2, G4, A5. F3, check mark. G2, F1, F1, C5. The B flat can be either a 4 or a 5. And then the A at the top of the page will be either a 4 or a 3. Or I should say 3 or 4, depending on which one you use. So it's either going to be B flat 4, A3, or it's going to be B flat 5, A4, whichever one is more comfortable for you. Just don't do what I originally wrote. I originally said B flat 4 and A5. That does not work. F2 and C1. I need your love, G5, F4, C2, A1. The last E on that line is a 5, D4, B flat 2, G1, high G5, F4. Now we go to the lonely rivers. There's more than one way to do this, by the way, but try this. I think you'll like it. B flat 2, C3, D1. Circle it. You're going to tuck it under. F3, E2, F3, E2, D1. B flat 2, circle it, you're crossing it over. D4. The next line, C3. B flat 2, C3, D1 with a circle, you're tucking it under. F3, G4, A5, G4, first ending C1, second ending F3, and that's it for your fingering. Questions?
Dawn, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Page 1, last line. The second measure, you went from, over the word still, you went from 1 and then up to 5.
To a 5, correct.
Could you embellish that anyway? Or just leave it alone?
You could, yeah. You could, if you're hearing, if you hear the original Bobby Hatfield, on the second time he sings it, he does a couple of up and down stuff. If you find the right notes and you want to put them in, go ahead. If you want to do a fill-in, that's the perfect spot for a fill-in. Or if you want to do one of these, use the virtuoso. That's a perfect spot for a fill-in. That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Anytime you're holding these long notes, you've got a couple of choices. You can write in your own fill-ins, or the easy way to do it is just use your touch bar or your fill-in with your foot, or do your virtuoso. And that just
Okay,
that's just the
thank
easy
you.
way. The easy way. All right.
Dawn,
Yes.
when you do the virtuoso, what do you write in to remind you? Do you put like a squiggly, a V, or what?
I usually just write in virtuoso. I usually just write in the word.
Up on top or underneath?
I usually write it in between the chords, because it's usually my left hand that does it, because you're holding the note. If you're holding the note, I'll put it up by the chords, because once you play the chord, it holds. So then you want to reach up and do it here. Now, those of you that have,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, those of you that have marquees and arias that have two virtuosos, then they did that so that they know once you play the chord, it's going to hold. You can reach up to here and do it here. I don't have one on this instrument. So if you're lucky enough to have those big instruments that have two virtuosos, otherwise you got to make sure you cross over and just do it over here. Something to think about in case you ever want to upgrade your instrument. I think I might want a virtuoso over here. Okay, I'm going to play it one more time.
See Dawn after class.
Yeah, I don't think we have any of those available right now, but you can always call and check. So, yeah, if you're interested in upgrading, please let us know.
Dawn, were you playing that tempo slower than 72 so we
No.
could keep up?
Oh, do you want me to? Okay.
No, I said, were you?
No, I was playing it exactly at 72.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
You can play it a little faster, could you? No?
Sure you could. If you
Okay.
yeah, if you feel like, jazzing it up a little bit, if you like that background and it works for you, it depends also on which background you're
Unless you're adding some orchestra or something.
If you're adding other things into your orchestra, you might feel like it has to go a little faster because it might feel like it's dragging. And again, let your ears be the final judge on whether or not you are actually upping the tempo or lowering the tempo. It's got to fit for that background as well as how you feel about the song. So this one is the Lowry is Fun and Easy, the Life. And since I'm not introducing That's Life, I'm going to use introduction number 2.
Fine.
Yes. Ask me, hold that thought. Totally different on the fill-ins. Stop right there. I did a little glissando. You heard a couple of embellishments. Okay, watch the fill-ins. That fill-in was a lot more dramatic in a different way. It gave me more drum beats than the one on the 50s love songs. The 50s love songs gave me that nice up and down, and the L-I-F-E, the Life, gave me those drum beats. So again, it depends on how you're feeling on how to express your song for that. Any questions?
That tempo that you played the first time is very good. I sang the song right with you, and it was exactly the way I sing it.
Yep, it's 72. It's that's very common meter for that background. Okay, have we had enough of Unchained Melody? Because we have had this in other classes.
Yes.
Okay, let's turn the page and go to Unforgettable. Unforgettable. What do we know about Unforgettable? It's a gorgeous song, and it has a signature background on many of your instruments. It was written by Irving Gordon, and the original working title was Uncomparable. Yeah. The publishing company said change it.
Yeah.
The publishing
What
company,
year was that?
Yeah, that must have been 1951 when it was
Really?
published. The most popular version was recorded by Nat King Cole that very
Yeah,
year.
right.
Yep, with an
Yeah.
arrangement by Nelson Riddle. The original recording was edited and reworked to create a duet with Nat's daughter, Natalie, in
Yeah.
1991. Do you remember how beautiful that was?
Yep, beautiful.
This version reached number 14 on the Hot 100 and number 3 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart. And the song won 3 Grammys in 92, Nat and Natalie, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and Best Traditional Pop Vocal Performance. Other people who have recorded this are George Benson, the Captain and Tennille. Now that seems a little bit strange, but that's okay. I'll go for that. Vicky Carr, Sammy Davis Jr., Roberta Flack, and Aretha Franklin, and many, many others. This is just a beautiful song. I did do some chord changes. As far as a roadmap, there's none, so you can just play the song. And what's nice is that if you finish it, you can always go back and play it again. There are some quarter note triplets in line 1 and line 2. Remember, those are not the triplets. Those are not the fast 8th note triplets where you have 3 notes in the space of 1 beat. Those are quarter note triplets where you have 3 notes in the space of 2 beats. Don't try to count those. Just pretend like you have a string on those triplets and pull them through as smoothly as you can. In this case, you're starting on beat 3 and landing on the F sharp in the next measure, which is beat 1. And you just want those 2 notes in between to be as even as you can. The wonderful thing is we know the song. So if you play the song the way you know it, you are going to be correct. No worries. I do have some fabulous chords. I had 2 different versions, so I kind of interpolated the 2 different versions on this, and I put what I thought was the best of both worlds into this song. So watch the chords because you may have some extra ones in here that I haven't put in before. Or not. Remember, chords are 100% optional, so don't worry about the chords. If you want to write them in and learn them later, and personally, I would keep a separate piece of paper. We talked about this last week. A separate piece of paper next to your song so that when you write in the chord, you can write in what the notes are in a separate piece of paper, because otherwise you're going to have so much stuff written in the margins that it's going to be difficult to follow the song, right, Diane? I see you're oh yes. So that's my suggestion, is just keep a separate sheet of paper next to you so you can write what the letters of the chords are, and you can use it as a guide. That'll actually help you to learn them. Pick one chord, learn one that you think sounds really cool, and just learn that one chord, and you'll be 100% successful. And you can always add in those other chords as you go along with the song. Okay, the G chord is good for 1 measure. Measure 2, first beat over that whited in half note. Put a G major 7, gorilla major 7, G capital M-A-J 7. And remember the rules for major 7s, it's the letter -1. So your 2 notes, write this on a separate sheet, are F sharp and G. F sharp and G. The next measure, cross out the E and the E7 and replace it with C sharp diminished. Chicken sharp diminished. Your 2 notes, remember, diminished chords are the letter plus 6. So a C sharp diminished is C sharp and G. Second line, the C chord is good for 1 measure. Measure 2, over that whited in half note, put in a C major 7. C capital M-A-J 7. Your 2 notes are C and B, or I see nothing. You can cheat and do B and C. I don't care. Now, When you get to this level, your hand should be pretty familiar with this position so that if you move backwards or forwards, you can get back to that position as fast as possible. The A can be an A7 or it can be an A9. Oh boy, an A9 is a four-fingered chord. If you just want to play A7, you're fine. A7's G and A. A9 is C sharp, G, A, B. And I actually like my pinky on the C sharp, my pointer on the G, and then my thumb can pick up the B and the A at the same time. If you want to put the C sharp on top, that's fine, but then I find my hand bouncing back and forth a little bit too much. Now that chord is good for 2 counts. Now this is what I mean. You need a separate piece of paper to write down what these are so you don't crowd up. You don't want to crowd up your music here. Whoops. Beat 3. Beat 3 of that measure after your A9. Put an E minor, elephant minor, or E minor 7. E minor is E and G, elephants and gorillas. E minor 7 is D, E and G. The last measure of that line, beat 1, put a C minor, chicken minor, which is C and E flat. Remember the rules for minors? It's the letter plus 3. And in beat 3 of that measure, A or A7 or back to the A9. But that just makes a really pretty chord sequence, and it's going to sound like this. So if you need to practice those 4 chords in succession a couple of times, or if you just want to play an A9 for the whole 2 measures, that's fine too, and use your fill-in. Let's go to line 3. The F chord is good for 1 measure. Make that F minor an F minor 7. Now that's an optional chord. If you have to play just the F minor, it's F and A flat. If you add the 7, it's E flat, F and A flat. The C chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the A quarter note for the word thought. Put in an E minor 7 flat, the 5th. Oh my! Now that's an optional chord as well, but it will sound really pretty. Your notes are D, dinosaur, E, elephant, G, gorilla, and B flat, butterfly flat. Those 4, and you can do those in any order. If you want to put the D on top, that's fine, but by leaving that D on the bottom, your hand stays in a better hand position. 4th line, A or A7 is good for 1 measure. Cross out the A minor and replace it with D, dinosaur, or dinosaur 7, which is C and D, or D9. D9 is a 4-fingered chord, and it's all 4 notes right in a row. C, D, E, F sharp. Chickens, dinosaurs, elephants, and sharp frogs. And that's good for 1 measure and 3 beats of the next measure. Over that last F quarter note at the end of the line, end of the page, put a D flat or a D flat 7. D flat 7 is D flat and B, butterflies, or you can put the B on the bottom, I don't care, whichever one is easiest for you. Then at the top of the page, go back to a plain old D or D7. The G chord is good for 1 measure. The last measure in line 1, beat 1 over that whited in half note. Put a G major 7, F sharp and G. Remember, the major sevens are the first ones you should learn because they sound really cool and they're the easiest ones to remember how to play them. It's always the letter -1 and they just sound so nice. Line 2, cross out the E chord and the E7 and replace it with C sharp diminished, C sharp diminished, C sharp and G. The C chord is good for one measure. The last measure of that line over the whited in half note, C major 7, C and B, or B and C, whichever way works for you. I see nothing. The next line, you're going to repeat the same 4 chords that you did on the first page when you had that A chord in line 2. You may play A or A7, or you may play A9. A9, your notes are C sharp, G, A, B for 2 counts. Beat 3, E minor or E minor 7. Beat 1 of the second measure, C minor, chicken minor. And beat 3 of that second measure, go back to the A or the A7 or an A9. You shouldn't have to write those down because you should have those on your piece of paper from page 1. The rest of the line is fine. Let's go to line 4. The C chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the A quarter note for 1. Put in a B or a B7, butterfly 7, which is A and B. Next measure, cross out the A and the A7 and replace it with plain old B flat, butterfly flat. Just reach up with your thumb and grab that. That's good for 2 counts. Over the blacked in 8th note, which is beat 3, A or A7, or go ahead and play A9 if you've got that chord learned. And as you can see, those chords, C, B, B flat, A, just kind of walk down the line. So you're going to have something that sounds like this. And it actually sounds really pretty. Remember, this is one of those jazz standards that all these jazz chords sound phenomenal in it. But now, you don't have to play all these chords. Pick one. Learn one first. Then pick another one the next time you play it and add that in. That's the best way to learn. Let's see, where are we? Oh, the D. The D can be a D7 or it can be a D9. D9 is C, D, E, F sharp, four notes in a row. And the last line, cross out the G7 and replace it with D minor, dog minor, or D minor 7 for 2 counts. Beat 3, which is over that blacked in 8th note. Put your G or G7 back in. The last C is fine, and then if you want to add a tag, meaning if you want to add some extra chords at the end, you may add beat 3, D minor or D minor 7. Then go to a D flat major 7. D flat major 7. We don't see it too often. It is a C and D flat. And then go back to the C. Now your C can be a C6, or here's your new chord, your new chord. C, 6, 9. 5 fingers. Oh yeah, you can do it. Why would you even want to? Because it sounds so good. Here's a C chord. The C6, now remember, C6s have to have the C in the bottom, and it's a 4-fingered chord. C, E, G, and A. It's very subtle, but it's very nice. And then if you play a C6-9, you have to add your fourth finger to the D. C, D, E, G, A. Oh, now that's a pretty chord. If you can get those 5 fingers down, C, D, E, G, A, wow, that's a C6-9, and it's an absolutely gorgeous chord. And since it's the last chord, you could actually take your time finding it and just end on that chord and just let it ring and just go, wow, because it's so pretty. Okay, now you've got lots of different rhythms on this one. The song setup for most of you is going to come up as the background Unforgotten, which is the signature background for this song. And it comes up with a saxophone on top, and it comes up with a piano on the bottom. And then if you get sick of those two, you can go to the rhythm preset, the normal rhythm preset, which gives you a jazz organ on the top and a block harmony, George Shearing type of a sound. And that's the easiest way to just get 4 different sounds to play it a couple different times through. So your song setup comes up with 2 different sounds, even though it's a signature song, even a signature background. And then going to your rhythm preset will absolutely give it 2 new sounds that sound fabulous for this. Okay, so here we are with Unforgettable song setup, and then I'll talk about some other ones that also work. To play it again, go ahead and do a fill-in, touch your normal or your rhythm preset, and you'll get 2 completely different sounds. By the way, did anybody catch my mistake? I made one. I made a pretty glaring one, but I didn't let it bother me. I just played right over it. I played a B flat in line 4 instead of a B natural. So, aha! Yeah, so if you heard something that didn't quite sound like the melody, I played a B flat. I made a mistake, and I knew I made the mistake, and I just played it like it was the right note. So you don't want to shake your head, or you don't want to do this, or you don't want to go, oops. You just keep on playing like that's the note I wanted to play, always. Okay, let's do some fingering, and then I'll talk about some other rhythms, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that works on this song. All right, D1, E2, E2, F sharp 3, F sharp 3, D1, E2, G4, F sharp 3. At the end of the line, put a check mark. Second line, G1, A2, A2, B3, B3. G1, A2, C4, B3. At the end of that line, check mark. Check mark means we're going to lift our hand and reposition it for a new sentence or a new phrase. Line 3, C3, D4, D4, C3, C3, D4, E flat 5, D4, C3, G1, A2, A2, G1. Fourth line, G1, A2, B3, A2, G1, E2 with a circle, you're crossing it over. E2, A5, E2. F1, circle it, you're tucking that one under. Let's go to the second page. F sharp 2, F sharp 2, C5, F sharp 2, D1, E2, E2, F sharp 3, F sharp 3, D1, E2, G4, second line F sharp 3. G1, now if you're tucking it under, put a circle around it, but you've got a rest there, so you can actually put a little check mark if you want. A2, A2, B3, B3. G1, A2, C4, third line B3. At the end of that held B, check mark. C3, D4, D4, C3, C3, D4, E5, D4, C3, G1. Now, make this next A 3 so that you don't run out of fingers. You might want to put a little arrow pointing to that A so you know it's unconventional fingers. A3, G2, G2, A3, B4, A3, G2, low D1, E2, E2, D1, D1, E2, G4, E2, D1, and the last C, make it a 2 and put a circle around it because you're crossing over. Okay, different rhythms. First of all, do you have any questions about fingering?
Dawn, could I ask one question?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Okay, second page, third line, second measure. Over the whited in half note, and then I missed the chords in there. You went on the first measure, it was A7 or an A9,
A9.
and then an E minor 7.
Correct.
And the second part, and then that second measure, I missed the chords in there.
Okay, the same as what it was on the first page. C minor, chicken minor, and
Okay.
back to an A7 or an A9.
Okay, thanks.
You're
And
very
then
welcome.
down at the bottom, in that very last measure, you said a D minor 7th, and then you could do that was just a
D minor 7, then
Yeah.
a D flat major 7, then a C6-9.
what, a C6-9 or a C6 or a C9?
No, a
What's
C,
a C6-9?
C6-9. It's a 5-fingered chord.
Yeah,
C, D, E, G, A.
GA. Okay, so it is called C6-9.
9. It's different from a C9 because a C9 has the 7th.
Okay.
So
So
it's
a C6 is CEGA.
correct.
And the
Correct.
C6-9 is a CDEGA.
Correct.
So is that an option there? You can do that at the end, or?
Yeah, yes, you may do that, or
Okay.
you may just play the 6. Don't play just a C9 because a C9 has a 7 in it. So you want either a C6 or a C add 9, which would just
Okay,
be CDE.
So the D flat major 7th is just, I know what that is. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay.
it's just a lead-in chord. Those are just
Okay, got it.
lead-in chords to get back to, those are just like turnaround chords to get back to that C6-9.
That's a lot of chords. Okay, I mean, that's a lot
Yeah,
of
there's
notes.
a lot of chords
I
here.
mean, a lot of notes. I don't mean a lot of chords. That's a lot of notes on that last thing. But I have to practice that one.
Yep, absolutely. Okay,
Dawn,
yes,
what tempo are you playing that at?
that came up at 78.
78. Okay, I had it on 80. I played it at 80 and it seemed to be okay. A little under that seemed a little draggy to me.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely, 80's close enough.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
If
And
it's
I
well-
had the song set up, but I also did pianist group 2, jazz swing, which seemed to be
Nice.
pretty good.
Yeah, yes. On a
Okay.
jazz club, that would be absolutely perfect.
Okay.
I'm so glad that you are punching the buttons and trying new things. That's what I want you guys to do. Don't get stuck with one rhythm or one sound. Okay? I always give you these to give you a place to start. And if you like what's here, fabulous. I also did this on Candelabra. Candelabra is very, that's the one that sounds like Liberace. And so it sounds very dramatic, and it really makes a completely different sound for Unforgettable. Those of you in the Easies, Easy 10 has a mix pianist, which is Candelabra. So the fanfares and the journeys, you will find this under your mix. You have a Candelabra background. Okay? So find that and try it if you don't have it in Unforgotten, or you just want to try something new. If you're in a Freedom 3 mellow style 2, which is a smooth 16 beat, is actually really nice on this. I thought that was fabulous. And those of you that have the wonderful smoky strings, if you have smoky strings, which gives you big strings on the top and a trombone on the bottom. Now, what's nice about this song?
Is it Smoky Strings is under something?
Probably under Soft and Easier Ballad.
Okay.
If you have it, yep.
Yep.
Okay, now, if this song is nice enough that it gives you, it's kind of got some built-in places to take a breath. So if you're using that saxophone or you're using a trombone, it's nice to have those rests in there because that's an automatic built-in way for your horn player to take a breath. But remember, think like the instrument that you're playing. If you're playing a horn, make sure you make it sound as smooth as possible or as bouncy as you want them to play, but make sure that you put in every now and then a little glide or something that the horn player might do. If it's a trombone player, put in that little glide and make sure you give them time to breathe. And this song is a good song to actually start with that because there are enough little rests in there that are going to force you to let your horn player take a breath. So always, always think like the instrument that you are playing. That's the best advice I can give you as well. I am going to now play this on the Candelabra, which gives me that Liberace style. And Denisov, who was very good friends with Liberace, calls it Classic Lee. Classic Lee. He called Liberace Lee. That was his name for him, as they were personal friends. And so this is a Denisov Liberace background, and it's called Candelabra, and the introduction is absolutely outstanding. And of course, what do you want to start this song with? You want to start it with C or G?
C.
It should be C, although G does work. I'm going to try it with a C. This is one where they both kind of work evenly, but it is in the key of C. So I'm going to start it with a C chord. Oh, I could listen to that all day. then I also put it on the Smoky Strings, and I won't play the introduction. I'll just play part of the song so you can hear a complete different feeling. Send it right there. Okay. So different flavors.
Beautiful.
Dawn?
Yes.
On the, when you played it on Candelabra, did you play it on, excuse me, I'm sorry, I dropped my pencil. Did you play it on rhythm setup or is
I
it
just used Candelabra Rhythm Preset 0. Rhythm Preset 0, which is what it comes up at. So it gives you that, it's called Classic Lee, which is the Liberace piano, and it says 88s on the bottom, which is a piano with some strings.
Okay.
So, but it gave it a completely different feeling, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Now this is also good. What else did I try? I tried something else that was really good. I went to my pianist and guitarist backgrounds and ended up with something with George Shearing sound, and it sounded really nice too.
Dawn, what tempo was that at?
That was also 78. Everything I played was 78 today for this song, Unforgettable. So again, let your rhythm determine how fast or slow you're feeling. Sometimes you play a rhythm, and even if it's at the suggested tempo, it sounds too slow or it sounds too fast, depending on how much stuff is going on in the rhythm. So let your rhythm determine, should I up the tempo? Should I hold back on it a little bit? Always let your ear be the final judge of how fast or how slow you're planning to go. And of course, how much coffee you've had that day. Or if you just woke up from a nap, you're probably feeling a little bit slower. And that's okay too. A lot of it has to do with how you personally feel at that moment as to where the speed should be. It's just a good suggestion. The speeds that we give you, the tempos that we give you, are suggestions to get you started. Any questions about what we did today? Oh, we're actually a little bit over time. We did good with these two songs. Remember, try one new chord. Just try one new chord and make it work for you. And then add a second one. Once that one gets comfortable for you, if you love the song, find a second one and try the second one. You don't need to learn all the chords at once, and you certainly don't need to sit and memorize chords just for the sake of memorizing chords. Use them in the music to make the song sound pretty, not to torture yourself. It should never be that kind of a thing.
And C6-9s, you can use fingers and toes.
Yes, absolutely. Or you can ask your neighbor to come over and help you. And you can share fingers and notes. Yes. Okay, next week we have The Very Thought of You.
Ooh.
Okay, Ray Noble song. And if it looks like it's going to be too easy, I'll add the next one because that one is also one that we've had in other classes. This is what I mean, and then What a Wonderful World. So these songs do repeat. Hal Leonard does this. He repeats songs from book to book. And When I Fall in Love is another one. It's these books that we have repeat the songs. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But it never hurts to take a good song and try it again.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. At 1 o'clock is your A series and SU series workshop for pushing the buttons. Don't forget, if you have friends that want to start music and they're not sure what to do or how to go about it, my 2:30 class is the company Conductor Magic class, and it's at 2:30. It's free for anybody that wants to come and join us. And Robert always has the music of the day so people can download it. And if you've got somebody that just, oh, I think I might like to try that, direct them to that 2:30 class so that they can try us and just see what they think. Because there's nothing like this hobby. Nothing like it at all. It takes us away from TV. It takes us away from bad weather. It takes us away from politics.
Yes.
Sure.
It just puts us in a wonderful, wonderful state of mind. So keep on playing, and I love you guys so much, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank
You're
you,
wonderful.
Dawn.
Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank
Right.
you so much. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Dawn. I love you.
Bye.
Love you guys too.
Hey, Dawn.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Email me if you guys have any questions.
Okay.
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 Are you still doing your 2:30 Conductor Magic
Yes,
today?
I am. 2:30 this afternoon, Conductor Magic, yes.
Are you going to record it?
I will record it, but the recording doesn't usually get sent to YouTube. We're trying to control that, but if you need a recording, let me know and I'll have Robert forward it to me so that if you need it, I can get it back to you.
I would greatly appreciate that. I
Okay.
had to switch my schedule this afternoon. that I'm
Okay, okay.
Stuck with.
I'll have him do that. I'll have him
Thank you.
forward it to me and then I'll forward it to you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, Dawn.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey,
Bye.
Dawn, I got
Yes.
one question.
Yeah.
I tried to get, when you sang the song on the last, what was that, last Monday?
Yes.
I tried to get that. I could get your class, but I couldn't get what followed it. Where you sang, you were one of the
Oh,
singers.
the concert?
Yeah.
You should be able to find it someplace because one of my customers just watched it last night and emailed me this morning. So,
Well, I got into the website. I went through the whole website, everything.
no, you go to get something that's recorded, go to YouTube.
Yeah, it was in YouTube.
Yeah, that's where you
Yeah.
go to. Yep.
Right. You do.
I'll try it again.
It's there someplace because somebody watched it last night, so it is there.
All
The
right.
concert on Friday with the, Paul Miller did a great job. It was
Paul
a
did,
great,
yep.
it was a great, just a great representation of everybody with so many. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I thought it was a great concert. I
Yeah, it
truly
was
enjoyed
good.
it. Yep. I'm
All
sure
the students.
more student concerts as well.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Dawn. Have a good
Thanks,
day.
Dawn. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.